You know, in every age, there will be forerunners that come and bring new consciousness. Jesus was such a forerunner, but not only him, many, many more people. You know, basically all the people that were killed during the past 2,000 years and prior, because bringing in a new consciousness that differs from the status quo is always going to be met with opposition, and in times past with violence. New truths are always going to be mocked and ridiculed, but 2,000 years later it will become established truth. And so it is now. Thank God we're not being nailed to crosses or burnt at stakes anymore. But so it is now. A lot of people have great difficulty accepting this new truth that is being heralded, and that is the truth of your divinity. There's a block in their conditioned mind that says it's impossible to be God. We can only be children of God, some kind of offspring, but not true God in essence, right? There's a block in the conditioned mind, and the mind was conditioned through trauma and victimization. And a victim always needs something greater to pin their hope on for rescue. So as many of us are heralding this new truth in this new age, it's not being accepted. But I can tell you that within one generation, this is going to be the truth. And people will recognize and realize what it means when we tell you, you are God. You are God emerging as visible matter. You are God manifesting as visible matter, as a human, as a tree, as a dog, as everything, right? So you may resist this truth right now because your mind is just misshapen and misinformed. But give it some time. This truth will take hold and humanity will be transformed by this truth that will truly set us free, because we can only live up to our potential to the degree of how we personally identify. As we identify as weak, imperfect human beings, we can only reproduce that, right? Because we think so lowly of ourselves, we can only produce human low life. And you wonder why humanity doesn't get better. To aspire to something higher, to a higher potential, you have to have a new identity. Think about what you would need to be if your identity is that of Source God, God Almighty. What would you need to live up to meet that standard? Now our egoic mind, our natural victimized conditioned mind, will think of God of all kinds of things, like supernatural power of all things. Especially when you have been a victim, you need power. But scriptures only ever really tells us that God is love, right? God is love. So can you be love? You can't really love until you identify as love. And that means you have to identify as God, right? So anyways, we're sowing the seeds, and the fields are made ready, and there will be a plentiful harvest for humanity. to self-realization and to God realization.